Tonight on CTV3 News, Belize City rocked by another fatal shooting amid escalating gang violence. Campo Rosado proposes 6-month lockup as the old capital faces a state of emergency. Armed robbery reported at Wendy's Groceries in Trail Farm. And we'll tell you about delineation of municipalities across the country. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Tuesday, May 6th, 2025.
It's the biggest Pro SC card of the year, as 3 titles are at stake. As lightweight champion Marvin Mundo defends his belt against the #1 contender Raheem Lambe, and flyweight champion Jeffrey Martinez faces a hard-hitting Mexican Miguel Garcia Calderon. Plus KO specialist Diego Lopez from Honduras goes toe-to-toe with Kalen Smith from Belize City for the bantamweight belt. There will also be 11 other exciting MMA fights, including a special international female fight as May Blanco from Mexico faces the Nicaraguan Lady Oscarina Lopez. It was sure to be the fight of the night. General admission tickets are only $30 and VIP tickets are $100. On Saturday, May 17th, Prophecy Fighting Championship present Pro FC 60 Martinez versus Garcia, live from the Princess Vegas Hotel and Casino in Santa Elena, Corazon, exclusively on the Express Plus app.
Pro FC 16 is brought to you by Sherwin-Williams, DigiWallet, Carousel Commercial Free Zone, Bellikin Stout.
Electricity is essential for everyday life, but behind every outlet, a lot is happening to bring you safe, reliable, and sustainable energy. Let's start at the beginning. Independent power producers across Belize generate electricity using a mix of renewable and non-renewable resources. Electricity travels across a network of high-voltage transmission lines capable of transmitting electricity across long distances. Electricity then reaches your nearest substation, where it is adjusted to a lower voltage, making it safe to travel on the distribution lines you see in your community. From there, electricity makes its final journey from the distribution lines to your home, providing you with safe and reliable power when you need it. Belize Electricity Limited. We continue to serve you.
Have you seen Lori?
Check in at the White Lotus, where paradise turns into a playground for the privileged, and every sun-soaked moment is dripping with intrigue. Stream The White Lotus on HBO Max, available with Centaur.
Good evening. With our news, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Police are investigating an armed robbery that occurred late Friday afternoon at a grocery store in Trail Farm Village, Orange Walk. According to reports, at approximately 5:04 p.m. on May 2nd, 2025, a lone male assailant entered Wendy's Groceries located at the corner of Otrobenque and San Lorenzo Road. The store's owner, 68-year-old Belizean businesswoman Yu Zen Lee, told authorities that the man, described as a Hispanic male, approached the cashier desk. The suspect was reportedly wearing a black shade, a gray fish face mask, a red helmet, a dark blue t-shirt, 3/4 light blue jeans pants, and gray slippers. Lee stated that the man produced a black object from his waist, which resembled a firearm, and pointed it at her while demanding money. Fearing for her safety, Lee handed over approximately $200 Belize dollars in various denominations to the assailant. The suspect then fled the scene. Police have recorded a statement from Lee and have obtained video footage of the incident. Authorities have since conducted searches at 2 residences in connection with the incident, looking for a suspect and a motorcycle, but these searches were unsuccessful. The investigation into this matter is ongoing. Anyone with information regarding this robbery is encouraged to contact the nearest police station. Belize City is once again grappling with the aftermath of a fatal shooting as authorities investigate the early morning death of 31-year-old Kadim Orozco. Orozco was found shot and killed near the intersection of Ebony Street and Sarstone Street, adding to a disturbing trend of violence plaguing the city. Police are actively investigating the incident, exploring potential connections to the ongoing gang conflict that has gripped the area. Investigators have identified security cameras in the vicinity and are awaiting the review of the footage, hoping it will provide crucial insights into the circumstances surrounding Orozco's death.
Kadim Orozco was walking on Ebony Street by himself when a person approaching with a firearm fired shots at his direction, causing his fatal injuries.
Can you confirm whether this murder is connected to the last two over the 24 hours?
I cannot see if it is connected. However, we have several leads that we're following up, and we have several persons in custody in regards to these recent murders.
Can you say
related?
We have information that it is gang related.
Can you say if it is connected to the ongoing gang feud?
Yes, we have some information to suggest that it is. That is the reason we have around 60 persons in custody at this time. We are conducting several operations within the Belize district, and we continue with our work on the grounds.
Talk about that operation, if you would, that led to the detention of 6 state individuals.
We have certain information that we have received, so we saw it necessary so that these persons can be interviewed in an effort to minimize retaliation as well as to try and solve these murders.
Where are these individuals from within the city?
They are from different gang areas in Belize City.
This latest killing comes just one day after officers conducted extensive operations targeting gang activity, resulting in the detention of dozens of individuals. Despite these efforts, violence in the city appears to be escalating.
Well, we have deployed additional police officers in the city. Additional police officers will be coming in sometime later. We also have other intelligence officers that are coming in to try and establish exactly what is happening so that we can minimize the issues of retaliation.
Is the plan
Since Saturday police have increased, their boots on the ground, and since then we've seen 3 murders. So the question, might be asked.
This is the murder that occurred today in Belize City. The other 2 occurred in the rural area, that is Ladyville and Doublehead Cabbage.
Can you confirm that they are all connected to the...
Well, we have certain information just to indicate that, and so we are doing our best to try and quell any form of retaliation. So the investigations are continuing at this time.
How long will these men be held?
Well, we can keep them for investigation for 48 hours. Thereafter, we will determine what will become of them.
Orozco's murder is the latest in a string of violent events that have shaken Belize City in recent days. This includes the weekend slayings of Aaron Linda and Nelson Henry, known as Mong. Police are also looking into an earlier attempt shooting incident involving 27-year-old Jimmy Rojas. An increase in gang-related murders in Belize City over the past 72 hours has prompted discussions about the need for a state of emergency to be called in that municipality. Newly appointed Commissioner of Police Dr. Richard Rosado, while on a walkthrough of a volatile area within Belize City this afternoon, confirmed that discussions are underway with the National Security Council regarding the possible implementation of a state of emergency SOE. Labeling the situation as being on a critical level, Campo Rosado told reporters today that unlike previous SOEs called in the area, he is leaning towards a 6-month lockup for gang figures in Belize City to allow time for the situation to be resolved fully.
With the death of Brandon Baptist, the security threat was high. And with the shooting of Rojas, it has now escalated to a critical level. So presently we are discussing with the National Security Council to see if we will implement a state of emergency. But I do believe that at the critical state that it is right now, there's a need for it. I'm lobbying for, I believe that 1 month will not suffice, 2 months will not suffice, and we must start off at 6 months at the very least. But at any case, there must be some drastic measures to be taken.
Okay, sir.
But before I continue with that, I want to assure the public that we are using all available resources. We are deploying all available resources to ensure that we restore peace, safety, and normalcy to the street. Those recent incidents that recently happened, it's totally unacceptable, and we are doing everything that is possible to bring those individuals to justice.
Ahead of the proposed SOE, over 60 alleged gang members are currently in police custody following the increase of gang-related activities. This tactic, according to Campo Rosado, was necessary in order to weed out all those responsible in the recent spate of murders.
You have to appreciate that with the different gangs, it's a network. And with a network, it will require an extensive investigation, and it will require an extensive interview of all the players then. Hence the reason they were detained for the interview with the recent incidents that recently happened.
Dr. Rosado assured the public that the department is using all available resources, deploying all available resources to ensure that peace and normalcy are restored to the streets of the old capital.
We have to appreciate that in investigation, those individuals who are detained are members of both PIV, DLC, and their affiliates. The interview, when they are interviewed, it will determine who else need to be detained.
Any minors looking to be swept up in this proposed state of emergency?
You have to appreciate that we will do what we need to do. And as law enforcement officer, our job is public safety, and whatever need to be done to maintain the safety on the grounds, we will do it. Well, since the shooting of Rojas, it has escalated to a critical level. We have increased police presence in all the areas that are affected. We have embedded our intelligence officers in all the affected areas to gather the necessary intelligence. We have also assigned or increased the investigative team in order to identify, in order to disrupt this network and bring them to justice. We have intensified the targeted operations looking for firearms and disrupting the gang activity. Criminals will take every opportunity they get to strike at their rivalry. And what happened this morning is just an opportunity that presented themselves, and they decided to strike on that.
On from the Security Council is expected later tonight and is expected to be announced before the end of today. As you heard, Belize Police Department is stepping up its efforts to combat the surge in violent crime. The aim is to specifically focus on the use of motorcycles by perpetrators. While a state of emergency has not been declared, authorities are implementing enhanced measures to curb the recent wave of violence. Assistant Commissioner of Police Alberto Romero confirmed the new strategy, acknowledging a concerning trend in which motorcycles are increasingly utilized in the commission of violent crimes, particularly murders.
Okay, we have seen an increase of the use of motorcycles to commit these murders, so we are targeting persons on motorcycles. But we know there are a number of motorcycles now in the city, so as soon as we identify suspicious persons, they are followed and searched.
So it's to say that you're not randomly targeting individuals.
Yeah, well, we know the key players, so once we see them on motorcycles, then we need to target them.
In response, the police are actively targeting individuals on motorcycles, though Romero emphasized that these efforts are not indiscriminate. We are targeting individuals on motorcycles, but we know there are a number of motorcycles in the city, so as soon as we identify suspicious persons, they are followed and searched, he explained. Romero further reassured the public that the police are operating based on intelligence. We know the key players, so once we see them on motorcycles, then we need to target them, he clarified, indicating that the focus is on known individuals linked to criminal activity. The increased police presence and targeted approach have already yielded results. ACP Romero confirmed that over 60 alleged gang members have been detained in the past 48 hours following recent murders. These individuals are currently being held for questioning as the investigation into the violence continues. The defense is poised to begin presenting its case on Wednesday in the high-profile trial of William Danny Mason and Brian Rayburn, who face charges of kidnapping and blackmail. The proceedings are set to resume in the High Court before Justice Nigel Pilgrim, following the prosecution's conclusion of its case today, Tuesday, May 6th. Director of Public Prosecutions Sherilyn Vidal led the prosecution, which called 5 witnesses, including the alleged victims, Lloyd and Rosse Friesen, before officially closing its case before noon today. Mason and Rayburn are jointly charged with 2 counts of kidnapping stemming from an incident alleged to have occurred on May 31, 2016 in Belmopan. Mason also faces a separate charge of blackmail against Lloyd Friesen. Wednesday's session will mark a pivotal moment in the trial. Justice Pilgrim is expected to outline the legal rights of the accused, giving both Mason and Rayburn the option to either provide sworn testimony, deliver an unsworn statement from the dock, or exercise their right to remain silent. Their respective decisions will significantly impact the remainder of the trial as it moves towards its conclusion. William Danny Mason is represented by a legal team headed by Trinidadian attorney Peter Taylor, supported by 2 other attorneys, including Eustace. Ryan Rayburn's defense is being handled by senior counsel Simeon Sampson and attorney Ian Gray. The trial commenced on Tuesday, April 29, 2025, with the selection of a 9-member jury composed of 5 men and 4 women. Both accused men entered not guilty pleas at their arraignment. The trial is scheduled to continue at 9 a.m. tomorrow in the High Court. Coming up next, how will police deal with BNTU's demonstration on Friday? The newly installed compole talks about the move. Stay tuned.
Attention farmers! The New World screwworm is a serious threat to livestock, pets, wildlife, and humans. It causes yield losses, damages the quality of meat and skins, and can even kill them if left untreated. Check your animals daily. If you see any wounds on them, treat them immediately. Prevention is key. Apply approved healing and fly repellents to the navel of newborn animals after dehorning, ear tagging, or any other practice that leaves wounds on your animals to ensure your animal's well-being. If you notice worms in unusual wounds, report them immediately. Call Baja at 824-4872 or text or WhatsApp 670-7003 or call your nearest Ministry of Agriculture office. And don't forget, never transport or receive animals with injuries. Together, we will prevent the spread of this dangerous disease. This message was brought to you by Baja, OIRSA, AICA, USDA, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security, and Enterprise.
Have you seen Lori?
Check in at the White Lotus, where paradise turns into a playground for the privileged, and every sun-soaked moment is dripping with intrigue. Stream The
Have a
White
wonderful
Lotus
last
on
day.
HBO Max, available with Centaur.
The Belize National Teachers Union BNTU is scheduled to demonstrate on the streets of Belmopan this coming Friday as Parliament holds its inaugural sitting of the House of Representatives. Teachers, as we have been reporting, are currently up in arms over their demand for salary adjustments. The BNTU is asking for an increase in the national minimum wage, pushing for an hourly rate of $6 up from the current $5. The planned demonstration in Belmopan marks the initial stage of a comprehensive three-phase strategy outlined by the BNTU. Phase 1 encompasses the public demonstration to be followed by Phase 2, which would involve a 2-day national shutdown. The final and most impactful phase, Phase 3, would escalate to a full-scale strike across the nation's schools. Newly established Compol Dr. Richard Rosado today expressed confidence that Friday's actions by the BNTU will go down without a hitch.
Given that the police may be stretched thin,
The union have a right to demonstrate as long as they do that within the context of the law. And we support any peaceful demonstration provided it's done within the context of the law. And the unions have always done their demonstration peacefully. So I don't expect anything out of the ordinary.
A formal move has been initiated within the United Democratic Party, UDP, to convene a meeting of the National Party Council, NPC. Tracy Panton, opposition leader, confirmed in a statement that the petition has been officially submitted, aiming to trigger the meeting in accordance with the UDP's constitution. The petition seeks to operate under the status quo ante legal framework, a move that would effectively reinstate the party structure as it existed prior to a court injunction issued last year. Panton emphasized that this approach is intended to ensure a sound path forward for the party, suggesting a desire to address internal matters based on pre-injunction party structures. According to Panton's statement, the decision to pursue a petition was prompted by Vice Chairman Alberto August's apparent reluctance to fulfill his duty in calling an NPC meeting. This lack of preparedness from the Vice Chairman, as described by Panton, led her to support the constitutional petition. Under the established rules of the UDP, a valid petition carries significant weight, constitutionally obligating the party to convene an NPC meeting. Panton's statement highlights that both Secretary General Shari Medina and Vice Chairman August are now constitutionally obliged to carry out the will of the petitioners and proceed with convening the NPC. The proposed dates for this crucial National Party Council meeting are either May 17th or May 24th. Adding a layer to the internal dynamics, Panton also revealed that she has the full backing of Hugo Pat, the first deputy party leader. This support is for Panton to serve as interim leader of the UDP until the party can hold its next leadership convention. Boundaries have been delineated for municipalities across the country following a thorough exercise by the Ministry of Local Government. This means that for the first time in decades, fresh demarcations have been gazetted for all 7 towns. The process came into effect on April 1st through Statutory Instrument 42 to 50, which were signed and approved by Minister Florencio Marin Jr. The towns will now see new boundaries include Punta Gorda, Dangriga, Benqueviejo, San Ignacio, Santa Elena, Orange Walk, Corozal, and San Pedro. The process of demarcation of the municipal boundaries was initiated in 2012 and reignited after a cabinet decision in 2020. The Department of Local Government spearheaded the effort, culminating in its completion in the first quarter of this year. The process, according to Director of Local Government Clifford King, saw multiple consultations with different stakeholders prior to the finalization of the exercise.
So we have completed what we call the municipal redelineation exercise, which really means looking at the configuration of municipal boundaries that align with the level of development and growth that these municipalities have undergone over the last, in some instances, 30 years. It's been a long time that boundaries for our towns and cities were redelineated, no? And people will know that these towns in particular that we're talking about, we're talking about the 7 towns. They have grown over the years. The municipal bodies, the town councils have been providing services to these areas. People who live around these areas come to the to the town council for services, whether it is streets, drainage, garbage collection, management of parks and playgrounds, all of those types of local infrastructure and local needs that community members look forward to. So what we had to do was to make sure that the delivery of services and the obligations of citizens align with the boundaries, the established boundaries of these towns. The last time the exercise was done for several of these towns goes back to the 1980s and the 1990s. So it's been a long time. And so there was a dire need to correct it, fix it, if you want to use that word. And that's what we endeavored to do. And while we started to do this back from 2012, we really just got that final quote unquote conviction to get it completed after 2020.
And while the delineation process took into consideration all villages which buffers a major town, King says the effects on these small communities will be very minimal, if any at all.
I think one of the most important takeaways, though, is that now that we have normalized these municipal boundaries, is that it has not affected or impacted in any major way what we know as the existing boundaries for the villages that buffer these towns. In the case of Orange Walk, that you might be particularly concerned with, Trial Farm is not being affected, San Jose Palmar is not being affected, San Esteban is not being affected, even though that in the area east of Orange Walk town, we incorporated those areas that are being developed, the Petville area, for example. We see growth in that area. There's been significant growth. There will continue to be growth in that area. And those residents, those people are coming to the municipal authority for services. And at the local level, while these spaces, if they're outside of a town, they will have to rely on central government to provide services.
In the case of Orange Walk Town, the new process now calls for the inclusion of areas like San Lorenzo housing site and Petville in the town boundaries. What this means is that residents in these areas will also need to contribute to the revenues of the town.
Lorenzo is a particular area of concern or one of these interesting. If you ask people who live in San Lorenzo, they will tell you they live in Orange Walk Town. That's they recognize themselves. They don't recognize themselves to be residents of Trial Farm. But more importantly, over the years, they have been receiving the services from the municipal government, from the town council. And so it was natural that they are not a part of Trial Farm. They were in quote unquote no man's land, but they are essentially the greater Orange Walk town, and it's just now to incorporate the area. And so there'll be obligations on both sides. One of the things I always tell people that there's all this negative connotation given to payment of taxes, but really that is what runs your city. That is what your town council or your city council will use to provide the services that they have always been providing.
The new legislation, according to King, also makes provisions to have municipal bodies acquire additional resources needed to undertake the inclusion of other additional areas of service.
The municipal bodies, the town councils, are responsible for the upkeep and maintenance of the municipal spaces, and they now, well, not even now, but even before, the legislation do provide for them to have a very strong revenue base. The legislation do provide for them to hire the type of staffing and human resources that they need to do the work that they need to do. The obligation is upon them to make sure that they are doing their best to apply the type of taxation regime or the collection of revenue streams that they're allowed to collect by law, and that they should ensure that residents comply. The the laws that relate to collection of taxes and payments of fees are very favorable. They are very reasonable.
Session of a new commissioner of police, the department is expected to undergo a major reshuffle as the ranks and files prepare to accommodate to the leadership of Dr. Richard Rosado. In an interview with the media this afternoon, Campo Rosado confirmed that the department is looking at some changes in the near future. While he did not indicate what those changes are, reports are that the northern region will soon be getting a new commander.
With change in any command, vacancy will be created. And with vacancies, we must put people that are best fit and qualified in those posts. And it is true that we have a number of, when one vacancy opens, it creates a number of other vacancies. So there will be a number of shuffling that will be happening around.
The Belize Educational Fund and the Day in the Park Committee have announced the cancellation of the highly anticipated Belize Day in the Park Chicago event scheduled for 2025. The decision, a significant blow to the Belizean diaspora in the U.S., comes as a direct result of growing concerns within the immigrant community over recent U.S. immigration enforcement policies. In a statement released by committee president Dr. Phyllis V. Hughes, the organization expressed profound regret over the cancellation, but emphasized that the safety and well-being of the Belizean community remain their paramount concern. We recognize that the recent immigration deportation policies have caused fear and anxiety in immigrant communities, the statement read. These policies have resulted in an increased presence of immigration and customs enforcement (ICE) within these communities. The committee acknowledged the disappointment this cancellation will undoubtedly bring to many, but expressed hope for understanding given the current circumstances. The annual event is a cherished cultural gathering, particularly for Belizeans residing in the Midwest, serving as a vital platform for community connection, the celebration of Belizean heritage, and the fostering of cultural pride. While the committee did not specify the exact policies causing the increased concern, the statement clearly links the decision to a perceived rise in ICE activity within immigrant communities. This heightened fear and anxiety, the committee suggests, would detract from the celebratory and inclusive atmosphere that the event aims to provide, potentially putting attendees at risk or making them feel unsafe. In other news that has to do with U.S. policies, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, has launched a new initiative that could directly impact Belizeans living in the United States without proper documentation. The program offers a cash stipend to undocumented migrants who choose to leave the country voluntarily, a move that aims to encourage self-deportation and potentially reduce the need for more forceful immigration enforcement actions by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. Under this new strategy, the U.S. government is providing a $1,000 travel stipend to individuals who elect to depart the country of their own accord using the CPB-1 mobile application. This initiative echoes approaches seen during the previous Trump administration, which favored voluntarily departures as a means of managing the undocumented population. Proponents of the program view it as a potentially more humane alternative to detention and forced removal. To qualify for the financial assistance, migrants must register their departure through the official CPB-1 app. Once the registration is approved, DHS will provide travel assistance to facilitate the return to their home country, including Belize. It remains unclear how many Belizean nationals currently residing in the U.S. without legal status might consider taking advantage of this program. However, with ongoing concerns about potential deportations and the associated stress and disruption, the offer of a travel stipend could be an appealing option for those already contemplating a return to Belize under more controlled circumstances. Belizean officials and diaspora organizations are encouraged to stay informed as more details about the program become available. And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
Have you seen Lori?
Check in at the White Lotus, where paradise turns into a playground for the privileged, and every sun-soaked moment is dripping with intrigue. Stream The
Have a
White
wonderful
Lotus
last day.
on HBO Max, available with Centaur.
Hola, ¿estás en tu teléfono móvil ahora mismo, navegando las redes sociales, escuchando la radio o viendo televisión? ¿Alguna vez te has detenido a pensar qué es lo que le da energía a mi dispositivo? La electricidad es esencial para nuestra vida diaria, dando energía a nuestros hogares, negocios, transporte y por supuesto esa serie que no puedes dejar de ver. Pero, ¿cómo funciona todo esto? En esta temporada de What's and Whys of Energy, te llevamos detrás de cámaras, hablando con nuestros expertos y trayéndote novedades y respuestas a tus preguntas más importantes sobre la energía. Mi nombre es Emanuel Pech y te invito a acompañarnos en vivo por Facebook y prepárate para ver la energía desde una nueva perspectiva. Dale like, comparte y síguenos para ser parte de la conversación.
Belize Electricity Limited, providing you safe and reliable power when you need it.
Belize and the UN country team held their 5th Joint National Steering Committee meeting co-chaired by Her Excellency Amalia Mai and Mr. Raul Salazar. The committee provides strategic oversight for the UN Multi-Country Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework, UNMSDCF 2022-2026, aligning with Belize's development priorities and the Global Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. The meeting reviewed progress, including 161 projects with an estimated budget of $47 million under the 2024-2025 Country Implementation Plan. Discussions also focus on future collaboration and resource mobilization. Both sides emphasized the critical role of their partnership in achieving transformative results and accelerating SDG progress by 2030. The UN highlighted Belize's notable achievements in poverty reduction, employment, and marine conservation. Looking ahead, the meeting discussed the International Cooperation Council, the UN's 88th anniversary, and the roadmap for the next UNMSDF 2027-2031, reaffirming their commitment to a prosperous and sustainable future for Belize. 23 Peace Corps trainees arrived in Belize this morning to begin 27 months of service, joining national efforts to empower Belizean youth through the Youth Empowered by Sports YES project. Their arrival strengthens the ongoing impact of 2 current YES cohorts already serving communities across the country. Peace Corps Belize, in collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism, Youth, Sports, and Diaspora Relations, works alongside local counterparts to implement the YES project. This initiative aims to support Belizean youth in leading healthy, empowered lives and realizing their full potential. Over the next 11 weeks, the trainees will participate in an intensive pre-service training program. This includes sessions on the Peace Corps development approach, the objectives and methods of the YES project, technical training, health and safety, and language and cultural immersion in Creole or Spanish and Belizean society. These experiences will equip them to serve effectively as Peace Corps volunteers. The trainees are scheduled to be officially sworn in as Peace Corps volunteers on Friday, July 18, 2025. This incoming group will join the currently serving YES Youth Development Volunteers and Response Volunteers who serve in Belize. Together, the 4 volunteer cohorts are working across 2 key sectors: youth development and education. Since 1961, more than 240,000 Peace Corps volunteers have lived and worked alongside community members in 144 countries at the invitation of host country governments. Today, the Peace Corps maintains country agreements with 64 countries. The Peace Corps extends its gratitude to the people and government of Belize for their collaboration and the opportunity it offers these volunteers to assist in the pursuit of the nation's development. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Wednesday, May 7th, here on CTV3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.